Magdalene's blog 35. It was difficult to argue with Belle, and I had to do as I was commanded, but I was particularly glad the projects were now running on their own. Though I still hadn't seen Rosilda, I heard from someone that she'd been chased right away from the city, which was often the fate of the possessed when their spirits were violent in nature. I did get down to studying with Ariane in the library again. I thought that if the goddess Isis was spreading her influence in some special way, then I should try to understand her more, to be able to recognize this happening. Ariane had brought back with her some of the works of Hermes Thoth, which she was studying and translating, and she shared her understanding of these with me. Holy is God, the progenitor of all things, the one who is before the first beginning. I was excited at what we read because it struck such a chord in my heart. Here was an exposition on the Most High God that was both the God of my childhood and of my own people, yet from another people, the same feeling of simple certain truth. Holy art thou, who by thy word hast established all things. Could this word be the same as God's name that cannot be spoken by mouth, I wondered. And there amongst these writings, Isis and her lord Osiris played major roles in establishing civilization, including devising the training of an inspired priesthood to nurture men's souls with understanding and their bodies with healing arts when they might fall sick. Wow, I thought, that's fantastic. How I wish I could have studied with them. Yet here were Arian and I, trying to follow in their footsteps, and the work with the unclean seemed to fit too. If only I could get to know how Isis used her healing arts. Maybe Belle was right after all. Thinking of Isis, goddess, priestess, and queen of Egypt, led my thoughts down other paths that I had heard told of as a child. How the Queen of Sheba had been a queen of great knowledge and of understanding from the furthest part of Isis's realm, who had visited the great King Solomon and studied from him the ways of the living God. The same tradition, I was thinking now, as Isis and Osiris had brought, and Moses and Hermes Thoth too. Yes, and Solomon had been the successor and possessor of these great powers. He was able to control the spirits, and even reputedly had healed the Queen of Sheba of her afflictions. Enlightened Jewish masters, as the successors of Solomon, should be carrying forward these abilities into our time. What were they doing with what they had inherited? The inspiration of my studies gave me an energy that I was able to channel into other work, and especially with the uncleans at our southern boundary and at the river encampment. I no longer felt so threatened by them. Somehow even reading of the healing powers of old had given me a certain confidence that I would be protected. These were some of my happiest days. My heart felt as light as a feather.